So get comfortable in whatever seated position that you are in. Kind of drop the shoulders down. Just let your arms be loose. Soften through the face. You can close your eyes. Start to deepen your breath. And as you deepen the breath, just kind of notice what you're sensing around you. For the dog people, it's interesting. I find when I start to settle into the practice, that's usually when the dogs show up. They know it's time to chill. And then as you're sitting and breathing, maybe add a little bit of motion if that feels good. So maybe a little bit of a sway. Maybe a little bit of movement through the shoulders. Or maybe you're not feeling comfortable with letting yourself kind of soften at this point. And I think that's where a lot of us are. Take a deep breath in as you open the eyes and start to sweep the arms up over top of your head. Leave the fingers stretched wide apart, really reaching. I'm only going to reach with one hand because one is needed for Jeff. Just stretching up and then just soften down. Good. So today's practice is focused on a few different things. And if you're anything like me, just everything that's going on in the world is building and building and building. And I just feel like I need some reminders of the tools that I have to not be feeling completely anxious or hopeless or frustrated about kind of where we are and basically people being jerks to each other. So today's practice, we're going to do some lymphatic work because again, as we have stress, as we have anxiety, as we have discomfort, we fill with cortisol, which then makes us more on edge and more anxious and all of those things. So we're going to do a little bit of work that we've done previously on just kind of working the lymphatic system, getting stuff flowing through. And then we're going to focus on warriorship. So that wonderful sensation of being strong, being solid, being confident, not backing down, but leading with the heart. And that's where we want to kind of remember that the heart is like our secret weapon in all of this, not just as a way to lead, but the heart center, that center for love, for compassion, expressive and receptive. That center is, we think sometimes about the third eye, but your heart senses, right? So when you're feeling that stuff is not great, check in with the heart. Is it? Is it not? And if you're not happy with kind of the answer you get, what can you flow in or out to shift that? And warrior poses are that reminder. Warrior one, which is like we're ready to tackle it all. We're going to work on warrior three, which is a really strong, solid, balanced position where we are shaky yet we persevere. And then warrior two, which is a little bit of a just shift to kind of stay present, but it's a little bit more of a resting pose. And it's a little bit of like getting out of harm's way. So these postures have been popping up in my mind over the past few weeks. With that, let's come on to our hands and knees. I guess I should get rid of my glasses before they just fall off. Let's move to the hands and knees for a little bit of cat-cow to begin. So even coming down onto the mat, be gentle with yourself. So maybe just rocking back and forth a little bit here from one knee to the other, swaying through the hips, maybe adding a little bit of a twist. Try and keep that breath deep. And again, if you're finding that, even being on the knees is a drag, if it's not feeling comfortable, you're in your home, grab what you need, pad those knees, make yourself comfortable. Provide yourself with anything you need to feel a little bit better. Good. So take a deep breath in, head and tail start to rise up. Exhale, rounding the back. Inhale up. This takes time. Kind of think about it like vertebrae by vertebrae. Feel that stretch in the front of the neck. And then exhale, rounding, tucking. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Breathing in and breathing out. Soften through that back. We're going to lower down to the forearms. And then just bring your legs back. So we're going to drop down onto the tummy. And we're going to start in this very kind of gentle Sphinx pose. I don't know why I don't know if I'm saying that word properly, Sphinx, like in Egypt, but when I say it, it sounds weird to myself. So to my neurodiverse brain, it sounds like I'm not doing it right. Anyway, this posture. So I'm on the forearms. I'm creating this nice kind of rounding in the back. And right now my shoulders are kind of hunching up. I'm going to cut myself some slack and be okay with not perfection in the pose. So breathe deeply. And this little bit that we're going to do here is just designed to wake up the back, but it's also going to use some of your arm and shoulder muscles in kind of a unique way. And this was a little bit of a challenge that was sent to me by one of the community. Wondering about, because I was talking about poses that I hated, and crow is definitely one of those postures. And as a facilitator in classes, I never wanted to do crow because it was dangerous and I didn't want people to land on their heads, which would be bad. So I don't do it. But it involves some muscle and some balance. So this is a little bit of a modification that will bring some of the same benefit. And I want you to really focus on what's happening in the upper arms, which you might already be feeling now as I yak and we hold this pose. So I'm going to invite you to bring your hands back to the side body, kind of around the armpits, and just lower down. Your chin can be on the floor. Roll the shoulders back and down and tuck the arms in quite close to the body. My fingers are spread, and this is perfect prep for baby cobra. So for baby cobra, we can do it on a breath. So we're going to breathe in and just peel the chest up off the floor. So when we do this, I'm not using my arms. This is just purely kind of back and shoulders and some core muscles. And then we exhale slowly down. Let's do that again. Breathing up and down. Let's do one more. Inhale up and exhale down. Now, when you're up there, you're probably, whether you're aware or not, you're probably kind of engaging through the glutes. So kind of maybe pinching your bum cheeks together, pressing the pelvis into the floor, maybe pressing the tops of the feet into the floor. That's all good. So this time what we're going to do is we're going to come up to a baby cobra. And then I'm going to invite you to kind of add one arm to extend this and then the other. And we're just going to play with range of motion. So let's come up to baby cobra. And then I'll start with the arm that's closer to my camera. I'm going to start to push up. So I'm just coming up on one side, maybe about halfway here. And then I'm going to push up with the other arm. The arm that I started with is going to lower back down. Maybe you can turn your head to look in the direction of the raised side of the body if that feels good. And then lower back down. So now both arms are tucked back. Let's do that again. So we're going to lift to baby cobra. Press up more with one arm. Maybe we go higher. Press up with the other arm. So we're coming more into a full cobra. Lower back on the original side. And then down. Take a breath. Let's reverse that. Lift to baby cobra. Start with the other side. Lifting up. Add the other arm. Lower and lower. Let's do that again. Lift. Add an arm. Add the other arm. Chin stays tucked down. Lower the first arm. And the second arm. Rest your hands one on top of the other. Turn your head to the side. Kind of rest a cheek. And drop your heels. And by drop your heels, sorry, I mean let them flop out to the sides. So take a moment in your mind to think about, kind of maybe visualize what we just did. Think about how it feels. It might feel tight in the lower back. It shouldn't hurt. If it does, I want you to just stick with baby cobra. But otherwise, I'm going to invite everybody to go through that again, but we're going to do it in a fluid motion. I'm going to invite you to kind of lift up through one side and then lower, and then I want you to reverse that and go back to the other side. I'll do what I can to give you verbal cues, but feel free to work at your own pace. Bring your feet back into alignment, so the tops of your feet are now pressing into the floor. Bring your hands back to the original starting position by the armpits. Lift to a baby cobra. And then a little bit more fluidly, lift up on one side, then the other. Drop down, drop down. Baby cobra, lift up, other side. Drop down, drop down. So keep going for a few rounds. And basically it becomes one arc. Pushing up and down. And maybe one last time. Good. Back to the mat here. Flip your toes. Push up through the hands and arms, onto the hands and knees. And let's move into a child's pose. Gently easing back, I'm going to bring the knees apart for comfort and sinking down. Good. From here, float up to the hands and knees, flip your toes, and let's move to a lazy downward facing dog. Knees are bent, maybe bend one knee, then the other. Twisting, kind of exploring. And then walk your hands back to the feet. And let's roll all the way up. Come to a standing posture as I grab my tea. And just breathe, sway. And just take a moment to think about how that motion was and where you were feeling it. I find that really hard for my arms. And as I get older, I realize more and more my arms are weak. They're not, they've never been strong, but now I'm feeling it more and more. So that's kind of an interesting way for us to try and increase strength in the arms while also building muscle in the back and working on mobility. So we'll come back to that one in the weeks ahead. Okay, let's move on to the lymphatic drainage. We're doing full body with this. It takes a few moments to work through everything. Again, do what you're comfortable with. The benefits are huge. So start with fingers to the shoulders, and we're going to do some big circles. So we have a lot of lymph tissue around big joints. So we've got a lot around the shoulders, through the groin, behind the knees. And try and breathe deeply as we're going through this. And then let's switch directions. Good. And then just let the arms come down, pardon me. Gently just sway from side to side. As you're doing this, actively look over the shoulders. So we're having that nice twist. Hips stay where they are. We're twisting from the waist up. Good. Bring the hands back to the shoulders. Again, twist to one side, looking over the shoulder, and then go across to the other side, look over the shoulder. So move at a pace you're comfortable with. Eyes are tracking. Be mindful. You might feel a little bit of dizziness. Come back to center, relax the arms, and then just with your head, left and right. Keep the shoulders back, chest is proud. The creaking, cracking, crunching, grinding, that's all right. It's all good. And our brains love this kind of drainage. Okay, come back to center. Thumb in front of your nose. Now, you're going to look up to the side, almost like you're going to look over your shoulder, but keep your eyes focused on that thumb. So go as far as you can without losing that thumb. And then you're going to come down on a 45-degree angle, tracking against that thumb towards your armpit. So you're going to come up and down. This is a really tough one, mostly for your brain. And keep focused on that thumb. Let's do the other side. So start up, track down and across. This is great for setting balance, which we are going to need. You're welcome. Couple more. Good. Okay. Bring your feet a tiny bit wider apart, and then we start circling. So we're going to do like our imaginary hula hooping, nice and tight through the core. So we have a lot of lymph through the gut. We've kind of moved stuff down. And do these circles as wide as you can. Let's switch directions. If you're doing this on your own, you can do this for a lot longer than we are. Good. Bring your feet close together. Same deal. Start with one direction. And your hands can be anywhere. I guess I'm more comfortable with them on the hips. Check that your core is tight. Check that you're breathing. Let's switch directions. Okay, big, wide stance, as wide as you can go. Same deal. This is where I realize just how awkward I am. So biggest circles that you can do here, and it's so much harder. And you really have to get into your hip flexors. Let's switch directions. Hopefully you're starting to feel a little bit giddy like I am. Again, if you're having a bad day, if you're feeling overwhelmed by existential dread, this probably helps. Okay. We're going to do a big sweeping step across. So nice and tight through the core, big step as wide as you can, landing gracefully if you can. I'm probably not a good example of this. Let me do the other side. So almost slow motion, graceful. Think about what muscles you need. I'm doing this because for me, it's all core. And again, because this practice is all about noticing without judgment, notice if it's easier or harder on one side or the other. So this fantastically sexy range of motion is all about activating lymphatic drainage through the groin. Happy Sunday. Let's do a couple more. Amazing. Now, feet side by each, zip up the legs, bend through your knees. Behind the knees, lots is there. So we're twisting now more through the knees as opposed to the hips. This is really hard for me, and I'm keeping that pressure strong between the legs. By this point in time, I have to start intentionally breathing deeper. This is using a lot of muscles, so I need more oxygenated blood. Let's switch directions. My brain does not understand this direction. Like, okay, I'm giving up, which I'm okay with. Okay, so come on to a standing position, weight bear on one leg, the other leg's gonna lift up, And then you're gonna circle through that calf and foot. If you need to hold on to something, you can. Try and do it without. Breathe a lot. Switch directions. A couple more. Try and keep that leg up. Mine's definitely slipping. Okay, we're going to take the leg in the air, put it behind us. Come into a bit of a lunge, arms forward, and we're going to imagine that we're kind of skiing here. So we're pushing forward. I'll do a few of these. Switch to the other leg. We lift up and start your circles here. Again, when the world feels like it's heavy and not a nice place, sometimes the silliest little things can break the mood, bring some joy. Let's switch directions. I mean, I don't know if this is your idea of joy, but it's a good hack. So a few more of these. And then stepping behind. And again, that forward motion. And bring your feet together. And now we just lift and lower, kind of moving up and down through our heels. So this is activating the calf muscles, and the calf muscles pump blood up. So we've kind of washed everything through the body. Think about squeezing stuff through a filter or a sponge. And now we're kind of pushing that blood flow back up and around the body. And building some heat. A few more here. Good job. If you have a beverage, grab a sip. Good. So hopefully that has lightened your mood and we've done something really good for ourselves. And again, to face all of the stuff that we are facing right now and to face what we may be facing in the weeks and months ahead, depending on where the world is going, it's really important to remember to look after ourselves. We're going to start going through the warrior postures now. Most of you know most of them. I don't want you to think about perfection in the pose. I just want you to think about how it feels and maybe what it represents to you. The other thing about the 3 warrior poses, warrior 1, warrior 2, and warrior 3, it's that constant reminder that as our position changes, that's something that we have control over, because right now it feels like we don't have control. So if we don't feel we're being effective in one position, switch to number 2 or switch to number 3. We have options and we shouldn't feel badly about changing our positionality in order to persevere and keep that heart-centered focus. Okay, let's work on going from warrior 1 to a warrior 3. Warrior 1's very straightforward. Warrior 3 is almost like an arabesque. We're going to be weight bearing on one leg and bringing the other leg back and out. It doesn't have to go high, but it should go as far as possible. The other thing I want you to think about when we're going into a warrior 3 is we want to internally rotate that leg. So if this is my weight-bearing leg, I'll just hold the wall for a moment because you'll be able to hold something if you want. As your leg starts to come up, because of how our bodies are designed, it feels more comfortable to externally rotate and kind of open to the side. We want to, as much as possible, keep that internal rotation. So think about your hip pushing down. That might limit how far your leg comes up. Don't worry about it. It's not about how high. It's about experiencing the sensations and just modifying and switching position. Okay. I'm going to start on the bottom of my mat. And I'm going to bring my hands to the heart. Again, warriorship is all about the heart. That's what needs to be strong. As the heart stays strong, everything reports back to the heart. The heart is in charge. So let's sweep up, breathing in. Connect your hands over top of your head and then pull down to heart center as the shoulders roll back and down. So it's like we're grabbing fuel. We're grabbing that energy. Let's do 3 of those. So sweep up, inhale, exhale to the heart. Inhale, exhale to the heart. Inhale, exhale to the heart. Good. Very slowly this first time through. I'm going to move my left foot out on an angle. My right foot's going to step way forward. You might find it comfortable to have your feet a little bit wider than hip width apart. And then from here, from our straight legs, we bend into that front knee. Try and straighten out through your pelvis a little bit. So that means the front hip, so the bent leg, comes back a tiny bit. And that back extended leg, that hip pushes forward a little ways. Tuck the tail under, nice and tight through the core. We sweep the arms up. I'm rolling the shoulders in, so that internal rotation. And I'm going to take some breaths here. Think about lifting the chest. And again, think about that heart. Think about, E.T. when like the extraterrestrial when his heart would glow. Think about your heart glowing right now. This is such a vulnerable position, but you are using your heart as a shield or as a reflector. Good. Let's bring the hands to the heart. And now we're going to start to lift off into our warrior 3. So this front leg, that's going to be our supporting leg. I'm lucky, I'm going to hold on to a wall. You can hold on to a chair or anything you want or nothing at all. But I'm going to hinge forward and then lift up here. So I'm going to think about that internal rotation on the lifted leg. Three or 4 breaths. And then I want you to step back. The leg that's raised into the air, let it come back. Then that front knee. And now we're going to transition into a warrior 2. So I'm going to open that back foot a little bit further. I apologize, my back is to you. And then the arms extend from the heart. So what I was saying about warrior 2 is that it's kind of like a sheltering pose. I find this more stable. I find it more comfortable. And I feel that my heart's not forward. It's a little bit to the side, but think about sending that heart energy along that front arm out through those fingertips. From here, take that back arm forward, kind of windmill down towards the floor. Hands come down by that front foot. Pivot the back foot. We're going to step into downward facing dog. And then walk your hands back to the feet, pulling up, hands to the heart. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, hands to the heart. We're going to do this the 3 times, right? So inhale up. Exhale, heart center. Inhale up. Exhale, heart center. Good. So now my right foot's coming out on an angle for stability. Left foot forward. Sinking down into that front leg. Arms come up, shoulders are rolling in. Warrior one should feel so solid that somebody could come over and like push you and you would not budge. This is what perseverance looks like. This is what love should look like. Somebody might push you. Don't ever give up on the love. Don't ever back down. Okay, from here, let's bring the hands to the heart. Now, maybe you don't want to hold on to something this time. You don't have to. I'm not going to. I'm going to keep my hands at the heart as I lift up. Lots of deep breath. Think about that internal rotation of that hip. And then drop that foot back down and we sink into our warrior two. Again, take a moment here as we breathe and hold the posture. Think about that heart energy kind of generating and then flowing out, shooting out through those fingers, very superhero-like. But we're sheltered, right? We've turned our face away a little bit. We're just easing back. This is also that kind of posture where you can, I feel it's just more agile, more flexible. And then from here, arms come down. Step back to down dog. Walk back with the hands, rolling up, stretching up, and then hands to your heart. So hold here for a moment, catch your breath. Those postures can be hard. I'm going to take another sip of my tea. So we're going to go through that again. And what I want you to think about is, I'm kind of giving you my emotional or creative interpretation of what the pose means to me. And that is because when I do my practice and I come into these positions, these postures, that's where my brain goes. I think about, what does this mean? What am I presenting? What is this representing? And again, that's my brain. That's the creative side of me. You might be feeling something totally different. And if you are, that's awesome. Tap into that, explore that. And the more we can do that, the more we can kind of get into our mind as we're holding the postures, then we build up that endurance. We can hold them longer. And it feels worthwhile to hold them longer because we're actually doing some self-exploration, which is part of why I really appreciate a practice. So let's do that again. I'm thinking about switching directions. I think I will. I'm going to start at the other side of my mat. But still the bottom of the mat with all of this greatness ahead. Ground your feet into the floor, spread the toes, lift up through the arches. Let the feet know they got some work to do. And then we begin. Inhale, sweeping up. Connect the hands. Exhale to the heart. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Left foot out on an angle, right foot steps forward. Sink into your lunge. Sweep your arms up. Come fully into your warrior one. Make whatever adjustments you need. One that I haven't talked about this morning, but I will mention now, stay anchored through your back heel. Don't kind of lift off and lean forward. Really have that equal connection to the back foot. Nice way to think about that. We got to stay connected to our past in order to fully embrace the future. Let's bring the hands to the heart, shoulders roll down, lift up. Find your warrior three. And find it with or without a support. And then drop that foot down, opening it up to the side, and fully expressing your warrior two. Think about what you're feeling in this pose. And then sweep the hands down, steps to down dog. Walk your hands back. Rolling up. Take a moment at heart center to breathe. Reconnect your feet. And then we sweep up. Inhale. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale. Exhale, hands to the heart. Right foot out on an angle, left foot steps forward and sink into your warrior one. Hold and breathe. Think about what this means to you. What does it represent? Fully express the posture, then hands come to the heart, lift up. Find your form of warrior three. Hold strong. Connect through the uneasiness and the unsteadiness. And drop the foot down, opening it up, express into warrior two. And find comfort with both feet back on the floor. Let's bring the hands down to the floor, stepping back to down dog. Walk the hands back. Rolling up. Reaching up. And let's bring the hands to the heart. Keep the hands at heart center, close the eyes, breathe, reflect. Think about the three postures. Think about which one was comfortable. Think about which one was uncomfortable. And if you landed on warrior 3 for uncomfortable, reflect on this for a moment. That in the greatest moments of discomfort, when we feel that we are about to lose our balance and fall, that's when we need all our physical strength and the heart center to keep us going in the right direction. And release the hands and the arms. Let's come on down to the mat. So last week we were doing a little bit of a flow, and we started with it, and I, for a couple of days after class, was really feeling like I'd done some core work. And I think it was from this, but I'd like to do it again. We're going to do it 3 times in a row. So I'm going to invite you to start with the legs stretched out. And then bring one hand to the tummy. So think solar plexus chakra. One hand to the heart, shoulders are back. Let's take a couple of breaths here. So breathe in and breathe out. As you inhale, stretch up the arms, stretch your legs. Exhale, tuck into yourself. So just lift up your head, pull the knees in. Inhale, arms come up, legs come up. Exhale, let them come down. And then back to hand on heart and on tummy. Take a few breaths. Good. Inhale, stretch, fingers to toes. Exhale, roll up. Inhale, arms and legs in the air. Exhale, lower down. Hand to the heart and tummy. And breathe. Last time. Inhale, stretch. Exhale into a little ball. Inhale, arms and legs in the air. Exhale slowly down. Return to heart and solar plexus. Good. Let's pull the knees in, bring your legs up into the air, and cross one over the other. Bend at the knees and then pull those legs in. Little crisscross applesauce. Maybe rocking back and forth. This is a deep glute stretch. We did some work today that your glutes might feel if we don't release this. So just get into the tight spots as you breathe deeply. Let's untangle, switch. One leg over the other leg, and then same deal, pull back. Good, and release. Let your feet find the floor, and then we're gonna make a figure four. Did not mean to rhyme. So I've got one leg bent with a side of a heel on the top of my knee. Based on your level of comfort, I'm going to pop that foot up and I'm going to pull everything in while I'm pushing back with that leg that's now in the air. Not great verbal cues. Basically, you're pulling that figure four in towards the chest. Keep your shoulders and head on the floor. It's not about how close you get, it's about allowing stuff to stretch. And because it's a stretch, breathe deeply. Good, let's switch to the other side. Create your figure four. Pop it up, pull it back. You can reach through if you want. Add motion. You're going to know the perfect way to do this if you listen to what your body needs. Let's release. Bring the legs into the air, flex the feet. Bring the legs apart. Arms stretch up into the air. And then soften. So the shoulders clunk down to the floor, legs are soft. Coming into dead bug, which will instantly calm and relax everything about you. Take some deep breaths here. And then when you're ready, melt into the floor for your Shavasana. On our last few moments of today's practice, deepen your breath. Maybe start to bring some motion back to your body. Take the stretches that you need. and take the care that you need. The whole purpose of today's practice was really about, tapping into that sense that things are really weird in the world right now, unexpectedly so. And we can hide and we can panic, or we can go back to the skills that many of us have developed over a lifetime. But we have to intentionally remind ourselves, and then we have to practice. We need to go back to these tools and these skills and allow ourselves to be strong, agile, resilient. And if nothing else, it reminds us that the heart center is key to moving forward in a positive way. That's how we move forward with ourselves. That's how we move forward with communities. And today's practice was really about making sure heart center is good to go. So give yourself a big hug because you deserve it. And then move up to a seated posture. Let's bring our hands together in front of the heart. And again, thinking about the meaning of the word namaste, it could not be more relevant for today. So the light in me greets, honors, respects, and welcomes the light in you. Thank you so much for sharing this time, for sharing this practice, for building our little weed community. And it means a great deal to me that things can be pretty bananas, but we've got a great group of folks to navigate that, and nobody is alone. Namaste. I hope everybody has an amazing week.
Thank you.
Thanks, Barb. That was wonderful.
Thanks, Barb.
Thanks, Barb.